All right, so this is my problem right here. Every night I can hear this drip, drip, drip. And so what I have to do is replace this Moen cartridge. It's a single handle turn. And ours is screwed up because our hot's on this side and our cold's that side. So I got to make sure I put the cartridge in the right way so that we get the proper positioning on it. And I think I want to replace this too because that looks pretty nasty. And I should replace that. But anyway, that's my job for today. We're going to try to do that. Now, we've already bought every single Moen cartridge there are. And this one's the 2222. I don't think it's that one. It's probably either this 20 or 1200 or this 2025. It's one of these two for sure. And this one here, I'm pretty sure that's not it. Because these are the ones where you got to pull it out and then turn it. So we're going to do that today. It's going to be fun. All right, so I went outside and I cut all the water off to the house. Make sure you do that. I'm checking it with the sink right here. And as you can see, you got a little bit still in the pipes, but that tells you that it's pretty much turned off. And you can go ahead and start working on it. First thing you got to do is get that cap off of there. So you take a small screwdriver and smush it in there and pop it off. And that will expose the screw that you've got to unscrew. I've got to get that off of there, and we got to pull that sleeve off. I got that down there, so if I drop anything, I don't lose it in the drain. It's important. Don't do that. That's the flathead, so we got to use a flathead, and we're going to unscrew that. So you got to hold this, and then this turns, but it just doesn't want to. There we go. You can see, I think I might have to get a new handle. No, it should just pop off. All right, now we pop it off and we're good. Then I need to pull the sleeve off. All right, that's off of there. Now, it looks like I can't get to the pin. Oh, here's the pin right here, perfect. So we're gonna be able to pull this pin off and then we're gonna be able to get that out of there. So we've got to get that pin out of there before we can pull the cartridge itself out. So, all right, so we got the sleeve off. We got I'm gonna get a new one of those. And we got that. And as you can see, the water's coming out. All right, so anyway, now we're gonna go ahead and get that pin out of there. Pull this out a little bit so you can see the water's draining. So this little pin right here, you got to get this little pin out. And I got my needle nose. And this is what holds the whole thing in there. This is going to be a little tougher than I thought. There we go. Do not drop that down see, this is where it comes out of. You're going to have to put it back in there. So do not drop that down your drain. Okay, we're going to save that right there because we're going to need that later. All right, now we're ready to go. Now we got to get our puller and we're going to put it on there. We're going to pull that cartridge out of there. But before you get your puller, you got to use this little white tool to twist the cartridge on the inside with some pliers. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide it in there like that. And then they want you to take some pliers and just kind of twist it just to get the cartridge loose. You got to turn it back and forth like that to loosen it up inside there. And then come back to the original position. So now it should be loose and should want to come out of there. And now we can use our puller to get it out. So that's our next move. Now we're ready to go. So what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to take this little screw all the way out like that. And then we're going to put this in there, and then we got to tighten that screw in there. But first I got to read some more directions. So as you can see, those two ears go to the left and the right side of the ears inside on the cartridge, and you screw the screw right into that hole there. So that's what we got to do. We got to slip that on with those two ears to the left and the right, and then screw in the screw. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this in there like that, and then we got to get the screw in. So I'm going to just use my fingers to kind of tighten it in like that. I'm going to grab my screwdriver, get her in there, tighten that down. And that's going to pull that thing forward. And that screw is screwing right into that little post of the cartridge inside. Good. Now what I got to do is I got to tighten this until I get there. And I'm going to kind of squeeze it like that. And it's pulling right now. It's pulling it out as I do that, believe it or not. Getting a little bit of water. Once I get it, then I should just be able to pull it straight out. Bam, done. And that's it. So now we gotta find which one is the correct one. So this is not that one. So I've got to get the other one. So I'm gonna set that down and we can take a look inside there. And we're gonna stick our finger in there and try to clean that out a little bit. But we got her out, no problem. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this cartridge and I'm gonna unscrew it out of there. Just gonna pull it out of there. And there it is, that's the cartridge. So that's the one we need. And you can see that this one is fairly damaged. That's why we were getting the leak inside of there. So we're gonna get the new one. I'm gonna set this one right here for right now. Whoops. I'll put it over here. And let me go ahead and grab that other one. So this is the one that we need, which is the 1225 cartridge. Muscles marinara. All right, and this one's already lubed up, so you don't need to lube it, okay? And as you can see, that's exactly the one that we want. And the way it goes in is, if you remember, it's got to go in with these up. So let's put this one down here. And so I'm going to slide it in just like that. But before I do that, what I want to do is get inside there and clean the interior of that. Make sure it's clean. All right, so you can just take your finger, stick it in there, make sure there's nothing in there that could be impeded. And I think we're pretty good on it. This is our little setup, as you can see. And it looks pretty clean all the way in there. Now we just got to get our thing in there. So we're just got to slide that baby in. And we want to have these just like that. Gonna go in. Whoops, don't want to do that. To push it in, you should really use that little white square piece that you give you, but I didn't. Push that in. Gotta go a little bit farther. You have to use that little white plastic tool and set it on there so it fits right in those ears. See how they just slip right next to that little ear mark right there? You got to have that in there, and you got to really push on it. And that should be it. And that's it right there, ready to go. Now, the most important thing is we've got to put this pin back in, which is right here. And it kind of slides in there. Now, this is a little tricky here because there's two ears, and you can see them on the top and the bottom. And if they're not pushed far enough back in there, that pin can't slide down on either side of those ears. And that is the part where you're going to have a hard time. So I had to put this back in there, and I had to push it back in again and get it so that those ears went back and I could get it in there. And this was a little tricky. So be careful when you're doing this and don't screw up that little pin. So if you look up top there, you see that little piece right there? I got to push that back. It's got to go back almost even with that little slice on the top. The two ears on the top and the bottom have to go farther in for this pin to be able to slide through that groove on either side of it. Now, you can see it's inside there. I pushed it with this. I had to use some elbow grease. And it made a little pop. Now this should set right over it, just like that. I got to push it down, I think, a little bit more. There we go. So now that's locked in. All right. So this, if you can get inside and see it here. those two pin arms slide down right on the side of the ears of the cartridge and lock it into place. And that's what keeps it stable. So when this is turned, you're good. And I think that we've got it in there. I hope I didn't. I think I pushed it in there deep enough. So this is right there. Yeah, that should be it. That should work. That should be what we need. So now we got to check it out and see if it works. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little handle on it. First I got to put this sleeve on it, but I kind of want to clean it up. I just want to make sure I got it on there right. And then I'm just going to put this on for a second. We're going to see if it works. I'm going to turn the water back on and see if I got it in there right. So we won't know until... So that screw that you're screwing in right now is screwing into that little post that was sticking out, and that locks that thing in there. I think I want to get a whole new sleeve, one of these things. For some reason this is not... Oh, I see. So to get this on there, you got to get the flat side up. So I have to... There we go. I'll show that to you in a minute. Maybe I'll show it to you right now. This is important. You see how there's a flat side on there? There's also a flat side on here. So you got to get that flat side corresponding with that flat side. All right, so anyway, flat side up, right? So we're just going to slide it on there. And then I'm just going to screw it in. And it goes right into the thing. Oops. And then once you get in there, so it pulls out and pushes in like that. So that's off, that's on, off, on. And you got to grab the handle with one hand and screw with the other to either put the screw in or out. So make sure you do that, otherwise it just spins. Now we're going to see if it works. All right. Because I got to turn the water on. So I'm going to come out here. We're going to turn the water back on. Bam. Water's back on. Let's go see if... Hopefully I did it right.
6 years ago. 6 years ago? Yeah. What's next?
I hear water coming out of there. All right, now the question is, first of all, let's get all this stuff out of here so I don't get it all wet. We can leave that in there. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this on, turn this to the side. Okay, let's pull this. All right, so it looks good. I think we did a good job. Let's see if it drips. Cross your fingers. Right now we're going to turn it to this side. All right, when you first turn it back on after cutting off the water, you're going to have some air in the pipes, and that's what that weird sound is. Got some junk coming out of there. And that's the hot, the way it's supposed to be. That's hot water. That's just the way it's supposed to be. Turn it over here. Now it's cold water. And we're good. I got it in there right. All right, so we did the plumbing ourselves, and we saved ourselves probably $200 or $300. So, you know, if I can figure it out, so can you. It took me a while. I was screwing it up a little bit, but I finally figured out how to use everything. It's always good to read the directions. All right, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other awesome videos on how to do plumbing and home repairs and stuff that you've never done before. All right, peace out.